Hi, welcome to Global One Media. Today I'm joined by David Williams, who's the executive chairman of Thomson Resources, which is an Australian-based exploration company focused on developing a silver-focused package of mineral projects within Queensland and New South Wales. Hi, David. Thank you for joining us today from Brisbane. How are you?
Good, thank you. Nice to talk to you.
So to start off, could you please give us a brief overview of yourself and of the company?
Yeah, look, I started life as a lawyer actually, but I saw the error of my ways and got into the corporate world. And I've largely been in the resources energy sector, been running ASX companies for over 25 years. So, I come as a person that looks to change direction of the companies, do structural changes, but particularly on strategic direction. And that's what I did with Thomson when I came in early 2020. And Thomson was just an explorer in New South Wales. We could see the opportunity of silver and where silver was going to go and how underrepresented silver was as an investment opportunity in Australia. So we set about pulling together a number of projects in northern New South Wales, southern Queensland, that had all operated as silver mines in the past, that each had published resources by previous operators, and each had exploration upside. And we set ourselves the target of aggregating at least 100 million silver equivalent ounces to make sure we had that scale and that mass, because it was about a hub and spoke strategy, about bringing together a series of deposits into a centralized processing facility. And we achieved that in a fairly short space of time. And so Thomson's primary focus at the moment is moving down the development pathway of this hub and spoke, silver focus, but also looking to extract value from associated minerals such as gold, copper, zinc, lead, and tin.
Fantastic. So what can you tell us about the company's unique story and what is particular about your project portfolio in New South Wales?
Yeah, so I suppose that's what I just started to touch on. We've seen a lot of the hub and spoke type of approaches in Western Australia, particularly in the gold fields there, where you get a number of small deposits, and there's already existing a mill and processing facility, and therefore they all come together with toll processing or purchase and sale. You don't see a lot of that over in the east coast of Australia. It tends to be more focused on individual deposits. And as I said, we targeted these deposits that have reasonable scale in themselves, but not enough in the current world to be able to progress forward in their own right. And so it was really thinking outside the box as though, well, why can't you, if you've got these deposits within a reasonable transportation distance, and if they can work together, why can't you do the same sort of concept? And that's what we've moved down that pathway. So first of all, it was identifying the projects, then it was acquiring the projects, and then it was getting in to understand the project. So in each of the 100% owned projects, so Webb's, Conrad, and Texas, and Silver Spur, we've redone the mineral resource estimates, and we've redone them ourselves to the current standard being JORC 2012. And we've done it in a fairly conservative way, and we've done it from scratch to make sure that the numbers we've got are real and that we can trust them and that we could fill the gaps. And there were a number of gaps, particularly on the metallurgy. And it's so important to understand the metallurgy, how you're going to be able to process, how you're going to be able to extract the minerals, as well as knowing what is there. So we've spent a lot of effort over the last 18 months in doing all of that. And we've come out with our own published resources. I should also say, as part of the Mount Carrington project, which was done as an earn-in, that originally was just focused on a pure gold processing. And we've renegotiated that, and we've renegotiated it so we can look at the total polymetallic perspective of it and to look at bringing it into the hub and spoke. And we've demonstrated the significant uplift in resources you can achieve by bringing in the copper and the zinc. And also we can demonstrate that it's starting to look like it all coalesces into one big polymetallic deposit as opposed to individual gold or silver deposits. We're doing the first two of those in a very constrained way and aggregating to the mineral resource estimates we've already done. Yeah, we've now, just with that, aggregated 87 million ounces of silver equivalent. And there's still a number of deposits in the Mount Carrington to come. And if you look at the published resources by White Rock, just the silver alone, then you're well in excess of that 100 million ounce target. So that's the first thing, is that we're not starting from the beginning. We know that we've done the mineral resource estimates, and we know that the numbers that are there, and you know, we've got tens of millions of historic exploration activities that have been undertaken that we haven't had to do, and we haven't had to waste the time. So we're ahead of the curve. And we're just in the process of completing the scoping study, and we would expect that to come out during this month.
Fantastic. And also we read your recent press release announcing that your drilling program intersected zinc, lead, copper, silver mineralization at the historic high-grade Silver Spur mine at your 100% owned Texas silver base metal project in Queensland. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, look, so one of the things that we were also keen to do was to start drilling. I mean, we first had to understand the different deposits and then work out, where was the best exploration targets to start with. And that's what the first one of those was Silver Spur. Now, we had a number of targets identified for drilling programs, but unfortunately, we've had very unseasonal, in fact, unprecedented rainfall over the last 18 months or so in the area. And the ground is still pretty sodden. So we could only get to a few of those planned holes. And one of them was near the Silver Spur mine, just a little step out of it. And it was just going through to see, all right, well, where does the mineralization start? Where does that mineralizing event, the Stokes Fault, start? And where does it continue? And so we drilled in, and we expected mineralization a bit earlier than we got it. That's okay. That's dealing with the ground. But then it continued on, and we haven't got the assay results yet. They'll be sort of 6 to 8 weeks away. But it's very clear, as we showed in the ASX release, the mineralization is there. The sorts of the chalcopyrite and the galena and so on that you see. That's where the mineralization is going to be. Right. Now, the interesting thing is that while it actually started to occur a little bit later than we expected, it then continued on. And we kept drilling because we were still in it, and we kept drilling. Eventually, we pulled the hole at 270 meters, largely because the rains were coming. We wanted to get the rig to another spot, but it still was in this mineralization. So what it's actually demonstrated is that mineralization looks like it continues on further west than we had expected. We thought it was going to be fairly narrow, but it looks like it's continued on to the west. So, that's not a bad start.
Excellent. So as a last question, David, what factors do you think will help Thomson Resources outperform the market, and what exciting developments should investors be looking out for in the coming months?
Yeah, look, I think one of the keys, there were two key elements that investors were looking for. First, us publishing our own mineral resource estimates. And then the second one is the scoping study, or the PEA, as it's often referred to in the Northern Hemisphere. What does it look like? What does the central processing facility look like? How does it hang together? And importantly, what's the techno-economic evaluation of it? And this is a study that we were well advanced on a lot of parts just in the work we were doing for the mineral resource estimates, but it's now just coming to finalisation. And we would expect to have that study results out later this month, so later in August, and that's when people will be able to see, it does work, it does hang together, it is real. These are the economics of it. Okay, a number of questions still to then go and explore and deal with, but so to speak, we're off to the races, and that's a key risk remover as far as I think investors are concerned. There's other elements will be the drilling and the drilling results. Once the weather dries out a bit, we're going to actually go across to Webbs, which is the high-grade silver deposit, and where we need to do some drilling both to increase the confidence of the resource, but also test the theory of the geological model. So again, I think you'll see those results come out, but the key will be the scoping study.
Fantastic, David. That's a lot of great information. We look forward to seeing the next updates from Thomson Resources. So thank you for your time today.
Brilliant. Thanks, Betsy, and great talking to you.